I'm Theodore, and I lived 58 years married to my Eleanor here in Cedar Falls. When she passed away, my 3 children began to see me as a burden who only cried remembering their mother. At 83 years old, I discovered that moving on wasn't about forgetting the past, but creating a future where other widows could dance again. And in the middle of this journey, I found something I never imagined at my age: a new love. Hit that like button so this story can reach more people who need to hear it. Now tell me where you're listening from. It's strange how silence has weight. I sit here in the kitchen every day at 7 in the morning, make my black coffee, 2 sugars like I always have, and look at Ellie's empty chair. 3 months now. 3 months since she passed and left me talking to myself here in Cedar Falls. The coffee gets cold in the cup because I forget to drink it. I keep staring at that chair, waiting for her to fuss that I put too much sugar in, that I'm gonna end up diabetic. But no fussing comes, just the heavy silence. It was on one of those mornings that my son Christopher showed up. He walked in with that way of his, like someone who fixes everyone else's problems. "Dad, we need to talk." He sat in Eleanor's chair. That hurt me more than anything. Nobody sits in Ellie's chair. "Dad, you can't stay here alone. Look at this house, look at yourself." I was still in my pajamas, unshaven. I couldn't remember the last time I'd gotten dressed proper. What for? For who? "We found a good place for you. Golden Years Residence. They got activities, people your age, people my age. Translation: a place for old folks to sit around waiting to die." Patricia showed up later like they always did, the 3 of them together when they wanted something. "Daddy, it'll be better. You won't be stuck in the past." Stuck in the past. Like 58 years of marriage was some old habit to break. Like missing someone was a sickness. Michael cut right to it. "And we can rent the house, Dad. Help with the bills. Rent the house where I raised my kids, where my Ellie died holding my hand." "When?" was all I could get out. "Next week. We've already set everything up." Already set up, without asking me. They decided my whole life in some conversation I wasn't even part of. After they left, I went to the bedroom. Lifted the mattress on her side of the bed. There were the bundles of cash, money from the cookies she used to bake and sell, from our pension, from some property I inherited from my dad and sold without telling a soul. I counted slow. $185,000. 30 years of pinching pennies, putting money aside. Always figured I'd use it to take Ellie on a trip, maybe see the ocean. But time got away from us. Now she's gone and here I am, with money that can't buy me even one more minute with her. "Ellie, honey," I said to the empty room, "they want to toss me out like an old sofa, but I ain't gonna die miserable. I'm gonna do something you'd have been proud to see." The apartment at Golden Years Residence is about the size of my hall closet back home. Tiny window, cheap furniture, smell of cleaning products that don't quite cover the smell of giving up. First night. I'm lying in a bed that ain't mine, listening to strange sounds. TV blaring somewhere, somebody coughing, and a woman crying soft through the wall. I tapped gentle on the wall. "Don't cry alone, neighbor. I'm hurting too. Sorry to bother you. I'm Dorothy. Got here yesterday, same as you." "Theodore, my daughter said it was for my own good." "You believe that?" "About as much as anybody my age believes that kind of talk. But it's easier to say Dad's getting confused than admit they just don't want to be bothered." Dorothy spoke truth that stung. "My kids said the same thing about it being for my own good. Dorothy, you know how to dance?" "Dance? Here?" "Not here. I mean, do you dance?" "Used to. My late husband took me to the church socials. Been a long while." "What kind of music?" "The old songs. Big band, swing. Nobody plays that anymore." The idea came to me right then. Talking through the wall, both of us alone, forgotten. "Dorothy, what if we started our own dance?" She laughed. "Theodore, you been into the cooking wine?" "I'm serious as a heart attack, a dance for folks like us. People who got stories, who know what real love looks like." "But how? Where? We don't have that kind of money." "Oh, Dorothy, if you only knew." "Let me worry about that. You interested?" Theodore, I'd be interested in anything that got me out of this place for a few hours. And that's how it started. Talking through a wall between two old people who refused to believe their lives were over. Took me a full month to pull together. First, I had to find the right spot. Couldn't be too pricey, couldn't be too far, needed space and chairs for folks who get tired easy. Found the fellowship hall at Cedar Falls Methodist. Pastor William only charged me for utilities. What a wonderful idea, Theodore. Gonna do a lot of good. Then came all the paperwork. City permits, liability insurance, fire department approval. Michael always griped about this stuff when he organized company events. Now I get why. Nearly gave up 3 times. I hired a small band, 3 retired musicians. Frank on piano, Vivian on organ, George on saxophone. Cost me $180. Seemed steep, but they knew all the songs from our time. I wrote up invitations by hand. Come dance with us, Memory Lane Social, Saturday, 7 p.m., Cedar Falls Methodist Fellowship Hall, no charge. Just bring your dancing shoes and your memories. I handed them out on the sly. At the residence, in the park, at the grocery store, waiting at the doctor's office. Always explaining, it's for folks our age. Saturday came. 7 at night. I'd been there since 5, nervous as a teenager before prom. What if nobody showed? What if... 6:30, Mrs. Beatrice hobbled in with her walker. Then Harold, another widower. Dorothy arrived right at 7 in a blue dress. First time I'd seen her all dolled up. You actually did it, Theodore. By 8 o'clock, 30 people. 30 folks who turned off their TVs, left their loneliness behind, to come dance. The band kicked off with Moonlight Serenade. I just stood there, didn't know what to do with myself. Dorothy gave me a little push. Go on, Theodore. This was your idea. I held out my hand. Dorothy, would you care to dance? First real smile I'd seen from her. I'd be delighted. We danced slow, 'cause our legs ain't what they used to be, but we danced, and other couples started pairing up. For 3 hours, that hall turned into a piece of yesterday. When it ended, Dorothy asked, "When's the next one?" I looked around. 30 people all asking the same thing. Next month. Same time, same place. Got back to my little apartment after midnight, tired but happier than I'd been in months. Spent $950 that night. Best money I ever spent. Ellie, I whispered to the dark, you would have loved it. Think I found what I'm supposed to be doing. Second dance, 80 people. Third, 120. Word was getting around. Folks drove in from 3 towns over. Had to move to the community center. Bigger space, better restrooms. Started serving supper too. Fried chicken, potato salad, green beans, dinner rolls. People living alone sometimes forget to eat right. The costs went up. First $950 a month, then $1,800, then $2,300. But I could see what it was doing. People came in looking lost, left with smiles on their faces. It was at the 3rd dance I met Margaret. She didn't come to dance, came to help. Showed up early, set up tables, greeted everyone at the door. Woman of 79 with silver hair, always neat as a pin, smile that could light up a room. Need a hand, Theodore? I always need help. But I can't afford to pay. Who said anything about pay? I spent 40 years organizing events for the city. Margaret was different. Didn't spend her time grieving over her dead husband. But sometimes I'd catch her staring off somewhere, with that look folks get when they're remembering. Same look I probably had. Theodore, can I make a suggestion? Shoot. How about a special Valentine's dance for folks who found new love and folks who want to remember old love? Her idea. Became our biggest event. Over 200 people showed up, even had a proposal. Harold got down on one knee and asked Beatrice to marry him right there on the dance floor. I bought the ring. Margaret always stayed till the last dish was washed, last chair stacked. Always the last one out. Thank you, Margaret. You're doing something beautiful here, Theodore, giving folks back something they thought they'd lost forever. Trying to give it back to myself, too. How's that working? I looked at her. Face lined with years, but her eyes still sparkled. Getting better. Your wife would be proud. How do you figure? Any woman who really loved a man wants him to be happy, even after she's gone. Sometimes Margaret could be a real pain. Once she lit into me for spending too much on decorations. Theodore, it's about the music and the people, not fancy streamers. She was right, but it rankled being dressed down in front of everybody. Margaret, you dance? I do. My husband taught me. Dance with me. Right now, just us. The band had packed up, but the radio was playing something soft and old. Margaret stepped into my arms like she'd been dancing with me for years. We danced in that empty hall. She smelled like drugstore perfume and hand lotion. To me, it was the sweetest smell in the world. You're something special, Theodore. Right back at you, Margaret. 6 months later, things got too big to keep quiet. Some newspaper reporter came sniffing around. Didn't want the attention, but Margaret talked me into it. This might inspire other people, Theodore. Story ran in the Sunday paper with a picture of me and Margaret dancing. Headline read, 83-year-old widower brings dancing back to Cedar Falls. Christopher called that very afternoon, all worked up. Dad, what's this about dances? What about them? Where are you getting money for all this? These parties for hundreds of people? My pension. Dad, pension doesn't cover parties for 200 people. How much you spending? Enough to be happy. Dad, I'm driving over. Patricia called later. More polite, same worry. Daddy, I'm so proud. But how much is this costing you? Why are you all concerned now? When you dumped me here, didn't seem to matter much. Daddy, it wasn't like that. Sure it was. 6 months without a visit, Patricia. Not even on the day your mother died. Silence on the line. Truth has a way of shutting people up. Michael didn't beat around the bush. If you got money saved up, we need to know about it. Funny how I'm your father when there's money involved, Michael. What's that supposed to mean? When you needed me gone, I was a problem to solve. Now you find out I got some cash, suddenly you're the concerned son. Dad, don't worry. When I'm dead, you'll get what's left. I hung up. Didn't feel like explaining myself. Margaret showed up the next day with a chocolate cake. You look upset. Everything okay? My kids found out I got money. That must be hard. It is, but I'm going to keep on with the dances. What if the money runs out? Then it runs out. But while I got it, I'm going to make people happy. Theodore, you make me happy. I looked at her real close. She had that look a woman gets when she's sweet on someone. You make me happy too, Margaret. I'm glad, because I'm falling for you. Falling for me how? The way a woman falls for a man. Like someone who's been lonely too long. Margaret, you don't have to say anything right now. She left me there with the cake and a feeling I thought was dead and buried. At 83 years old, I was falling in love again. A year after that first dance, I knew for certain. Wasn't gratitude, wasn't just friendship, was love. Different from what I had with Ellie. That was love for building a life together. This was love for someone who knows time's running short. But I had my doubts. What if it was too late? What if I was just some foolish old man thinking he could start over? Margaret was with me every dance night, became my partner in all of it. Sometimes we'd sit up late talking about the ones we'd lost, the kids who'd drifted away. Margaret, can I ask you something? Course. Would you ever think about getting married again? Depends who's asking and why they're asking. I'm asking because I want to marry you. She stopped folding tablecloths. Are you serious? Serious as death itself? I love you, Margaret. Not the same as I loved Ellie, but I love you. Love how you care for everybody. Love how you make me feel like I'm still alive. Theodore, I know it sounds crazy. Two old birds like us talking about marriage. But I'd rather be crazy in love than dead from loneliness. It's not crazy. It's the smartest thing you've said yet. So you'll do it? I will. But on one condition. Name it. You ask me proper, in front of everybody at the next dance. Anniversary dance for Memory Lane Social. 1 year since we started. I splurged on everything. Bigger band, catered dinner. Spent $400 just for that one night. 9 o'clock, hall packed with 300 people. I asked the band to stop playing. Took the microphone with shaking hands. Folks, can I have your attention? Place went dead quiet. Year ago, I was a man with nothing left to live for. You all brought me back to life. But there's one special lady who taught me that hearts don't have expiration dates. I looked right at Margaret in the front row, wearing that blue dress. "Margaret, come up here." She came, blushing like a schoolgirl. I pulled out the ring, simple gold band, nothing fancy. "Margaret, in front of all our friends, I'm asking, will you marry me?" Got down on one knee. Knees screamed bloody murder. Margaret had to help me up, but I got down. "Yes, Theodore, I love you too." That hall exploded. People crying, clapping, whooping and hollering. 300 folks celebrating two old people finding love. Everybody here's invited to the wedding. Set the date for 2 months out. Margaret bought herself a dress. I worked up the nerve to face my children. Was going to invite them. Not because they deserved it, but because they were my blood. Sometimes forgiveness ain't about what people earn. Still worried Margaret might be after my money. Forgiveness takes time. September 15th. Woke up at 5, nervous as I'd ever been. At 83, getting pre-wedding jitters like some young buck. Took a long shower. Everything takes longer when you're old and creaky. Shaved careful. Splashed on some cologne, put on my navy suit. Dorothy helped with my tie. She'd become like family. "You look distinguished, Theodore." Nervous, though. Scared to death. Natural. "But you sure about this?" "Sure as I've ever been about anything." Cedar Falls Methodist at 3 in the afternoon. Wasn't packed. We were practical people. About 200 friends from the dances. Folks who'd become family of the heart. Frank played How Great Thou Art on the piano. Same musicians from our very first dance. 4 o'clock sharp. Margaret walked in. No father to give her away, no kids to walk with her. But Mrs. Beatrice and Harold flanked her, proud as peacocks. Pale blue dress, flowers in her silver hair. She was beautiful. At 79, she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Pastor William smiled big. "Theodore and Margaret, you're here to show us all that love doesn't have an age limit." Simple ceremony. 2 people who loved each other promising to stick together. I do. And I promise to love you for whatever time the good Lord gives us. I do. And I promise to stand by you through whatever comes. Plain gold bands, never too late, T&M engraved inside. A kiss that was gentle and sweet from people who know love comes in all different shapes. Church burst into applause. We walked out under a shower of birdseed. Outside, my 3 kids stood off to one side. Looking awkward, but they'd come. Christopher stepped up first. "Congratulations, Dad." "Thank you, son." "Dad, we were wrong. Dead wrong about everything. Water under the bridge. Today's about being happy." Patricia hugged me, tears streaming. "Are you happy, Daddy?" "Happiest I've been in a long time." Michael hung back, shy. "Can I meet I guess my stepmother?" I chuckled at that. Margaret, stepmother to a 55-year-old man. "Margaret, these are my children." "So pleased to meet you. I've heard so much about you all." "Good things, I hope," Christopher said, trying to smile. "Only good things," Margaret lied, smooth as silk. Reception at the community center at 6. Simple decorations, 200 people, same warm feeling as our regular dances. Dinner was real food, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, cornbread. 2-layer cake Margaret baked herself. Wouldn't hear of hiring some fancy baker. First dance, In the Still of the Night by the 5 Satins. Margaret in my arms whispering, "I'm so happy, Theodore." "Me too, sweetheart." My knees started complaining after an hour, but I kept going. Margaret noticed and suggested we sit a spell. "Second dance," I asked Dorothy. "Thank you, old friend." "Third dance," Patricia, still walking on eggshells. "I'm sorry we treated you so awful. You were scared of losing me after losing your mother. But the way we did it, it's forgiven. Today's only got room for joy." Christopher danced with Margaret, Michael with Dorothy. Blood family mixing with chosen family. 10 o'clock, Margaret and I cut the cake together. First piece for her, second for me. "Friends, thank you all. You taught me that family is the people who choose to love you. Party went till midnight. My kids stayed to help clean up. First time in years we'd done anything together. Dad, Christopher said, you gonna keep doing the dances? Long as I got strength and money. Could I help? With the money part? If you really believe in what we're doing. I do believe. But I could tell they still had reservations. Still thought I was being reckless. Real change takes time. 6 months later, Margaret and I are living in a little apartment. 2 bedrooms, a porch where we drink our morning coffee and watch the world wake up. Our place that we picked out together. We still do the dances. Once a month now. We're not as young as we used to be. My kids help out, but still with that careful way of people walking on thin ice. We're building something new. Other towns have started their own memory lane socials. I get letters from all over. Our little idea is spreading. Margaret, I said one morning over coffee, you ever regret it? Marrying you, not for 1 second. Me neither. Margaret's right about most things, but she can still drive me crazy when she gets it in her head to reorganize everything. Marriage is like that. Love and patience all mixed up together. I don't think about Ellie with sadness anymore. Think about her with gratitude. She taught me how to love. Margaret taught me how to love again. My kids come by every week now. Still careful, still watching what they say, but they come. My granddaughter Emma, she's 12, asked me, Grandpa, when I get old, will there still be dancing? Oh, honey, when you get old, I'll be long gone. Then who'll do it? Someone from your generation. Someone who understands it's never too late to dance. Dorothy lives in a nice little place now, not because she was dumped somewhere, because she chose to be independent. Her daughter finally figured out that sometimes love means letting people be happy their own way. Thank you, Theodore. For what? For showing me that life doesn't end just because your kids think it should. You showed me the same thing, Dorothy. That first night, crying through the wall. Guess we taught each other. Today marks 2 years since our first dance. 2 years since I decided to spend my inheritance on living instead of leaving it in some bank. 2 years since I met Margaret, made peace with my children. I'm sitting on the porch, coffee with 2 sugars, looking at the chair where Margaret usually sits. She went early to set up for tonight's anniversary dance. Money's running low. Got about $38,000 left. Maybe enough for 6 more months. After that, well, we'll figure something out. My kids help when they can, but they're still learning to understand what this all means. 'Cause I won't live forever. At 84, every day's a gift. But I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of dying without really living. And I've lived these past 2 years. Ellie, I say to the morning air, thank you for teaching me how to love. Margaret doesn't replace you. She continues what you started. The love you both gave me will die with me, but what we've spread around will keep going. Margaret comes home at lunchtime, tired but glowing. Everything's ready, Theodore. Always is when you're in charge. It's not just me. It's all of us together. Margaret? Yes? You think we did right, spending our nest egg like this? Theodore, look at all the couples who met here, all the friendships that started, all the lonely people who found their way back to joy. We invested in happiness. What if the money runs out? Money runs out, but what we planted keeps growing. Margaret's got a point, but sometimes I wonder if I should have been more careful, should have saved more. Old man's worries, I guess. Want to go to the dance tonight, not as the hosts, just as guests? I'd love that. 6 o'clock. We walk in like any other couple coming to dance. Don't check on anything. Don't fuss with setup. Just walk in and enjoy. Hall's got 250 people in it. Folks we've known for 2 years, newcomers finding us for the first time, couples swaying together, singles hoping to find a partner. Theodore, Margaret. Everyone knows us now. 2 years has built something like a big family. The band starts with Blue Moon. Margaret holds out her hand. Shall we, husband? Let's do it, wife. We dance right in the middle of everything. Slow and careful, 'cause at 84 and 79, you got to respect what your body's telling you. But we dance, surrounded by other couples, some who met right here, others who've been together since Eisenhower was president. Theodore, what is it? Thank you. For what? For showing me it's never too late to be happy. You showed me that, Margaret. We danced until 9:30. My knees were hollering, Margaret's back was aching, but we danced to every song we could handle, walked home hand in hand, taking our time. On the porch, Margaret kissed me goodnight. Kiss of someone who chose to love and be loved. Good night, Theodore. Good night, sweetheart. I go inside, lay down next to the woman I chose to spend whatever time I got left. At 84, I still sleep like a baby, still dream, still wake up with hope. Ellie, I whisper in the dark, thank you for teaching me to love. Margaret, thank you for teaching me to love again. I close my eyes. Tomorrow's another day, another cup of coffee on the porch, another conversation with Margaret, another chance to make somebody smile. Tomorrow there's life, and where there's life, there's dancing. Even if the money runs out, even if I don't last much longer, even if my kids never completely understand what I did here. Because I learned something these past 2 years. We don't just inherit money from our parents, we inherit ways of living, ways of loving, ways of facing whatever comes. And you listening to this, you ever stop to think about what story you're going to leave behind? What inheritance people will remember? The money sitting in the bank or the love you left in people's hearts? My Ellie's gone, but the love she taught me is still alive in Margaret, in our dances, in every couple who found each other swaying to an old song. I'll be gone someday too, sooner rather than later. But if someone somewhere decides it's never too late to be happy because they heard my story, then every penny was worth it, every dance was worth it, every risk was worth it to live every day instead of just waiting to die, worth it to love again instead of just holding on to grief, worth it to spend the inheritance on life instead of leaving dead money in the bank. And if you're going through a rough patch, if you think you've missed your chance at happiness, if someone's telling you that you should just accept your age, remember old Theodore. Remember that at 83, I still had the guts to fall in love, to spend everything I had, to start all over again. It's never too late, never, until the very last dance. And you who've been listening this whole time, where are you right now? At work, at home, walking down the street? Doesn't matter how old you are. Tell me in the comments, what would you do if you found out you had limited time to be happy? Hit that like if this story touched your heart so more folks can hear that life is meant to be lived, not saved up for some other day.